and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1957A, and today's date is August 30th, 2019, and the title of the episode is The Central Bank Economic Illusion is Going to be Exposed to the World. Now, before I get started, I wanted to talk about gold. If you've been watching the news lately, you'll have seen the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 launch. Those Saturn V rockets moved, and if you plotted their trajectory on a chart, it might look something like this. Except this isn't an Apollo launch. This is the price of gold since June. Noble Gold has been predicting the gold takeoff since last year. Call Noble Gold at 877-646-5347 and make sure to mention X22 Report to see if there are any promotions they're running for gold IRA rollovers. Call 877-646-5347 or hit the link below. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Well, we have hit that point in time where Trump and the patriots, they are now pushing the economic narrative. The entire push is going against the Fed. What we are witnessing right now is the destruction of the central bank system. This is the beginning stages of it. He's not going to let up. He wants the people in the United States and around the world to understand that the central bank system, the Fed, they are responsible for this economic system. And when this economic system collapses under its own weight, it will be their fault. They are responsible. Trump right now is dictating rules for the Fed to follow. If the Fed follows what he wants, the economy does well. Guess what? That means Trump wins because he told the Fed to do something. They did it, and now look at the economy. If the Fed doesn't follow what he wants, the Fed is responsible. If the economy goes into recession, depression, the Fed is then responsible for all of it because they didn't follow what was needed to be done to keep the economy going. Remember, Trump at this point needs to continually point the finger at the Fed, let everyone know that they have no clue in what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing. They're not benefiting the United States. They're not benefiting the people. And he's continually keeping this up until we get to a point, and this point is in the future, when Trump turns everything around, where he allows the Fed to do what they do best. And they will do what they do best. They will bring down the system. Trump will argue with them and say, don't do that. The system will crash. If you raise the rates, if you do this, if you stop stimulus, the system will crash. Now, this is in the future. Right now, he's making sure everyone understands and setting up the complete narrative so everyone realizes that the Fed, the central bank system, is responsible for when this system comes down. Trump tweeted out the following: the euro is dropping against the dollar like crazy, giving them a big export and manufacturing advantage. And the Fed does nothing. Our dollar is now the strongest in history. Sounds good, doesn't it? Except to those manufacturers that make product for sale outside the U.S. He continued, we don't have a tariff problem. We are reining in bad and unfair players. We have a Fed problem. They don't have a clue. Boom. He just said it. We have a Fed problem in this country. This is the problem. It's not anything else. It's the central bank. There never should have been a private Western central bank system. Trump continued to tweet out, if the Fed would cut, we would have the biggest stock market increases in a long time. Badly run and weak companies are smartly blaming these small tariffs instead of themselves for bad management. And who can really blame them for doing that? Excuses. Again, like we said, he's going to continually hammer at the Fed. If the Fed would do what he wants, cut the rate, start stimulus, we would see the economy do fantastically. Now, of course, this is statistically. Remember, his entire agenda, not just him, all the patriots behind him, is to push this forward to get past the 2020 elections. He's not trying to fix the central bank economy. He's not trying to make it better. He's using all their tools against them to make sure that the economy doesn't crash. Remember, go back in time. What was the plan of the central bank and the deep state? They were going to crash this system by raising interest rates. They were going to do this through 2019. Q told us the patriots are in control. The central bank will no longer raise rates. What did the central bank do? They reversed course. They said, okay, we're not going to raise rates anymore. We're going to hold them steady. Then Trump wanted them to cut rates, and they actually did. Remember, the Fed was tightening. They were unloading everything on their balance sheet as quickly as they possibly could without destroying the economy, because then it would be obvious that they are the ones who destroyed it. They reversed that. Instead of tightening, they're going to start stimulus. Now, we need to remember something very important. We need to remember what the Fed is and what power it has. The Fed is able to speed up or slow down the economy via its manipulation of interest rates and the money supply. Now, remember that the Federal Reserve lacks any direct accountability to the people of the United States. It is only by a president appointing and the Senate confirming members of its board that any public accountability operates. Once in office, they are autonomous. Remember, the Federal Reserve sits on land not owned or controlled by U.S. laws. The Federal Reserve, they don't even pay taxes because taxes weren't for them. The taxes were to enslave the people. Think about this. We have this private corporation running the economy, which really means creating currency, loaning it to the government with interest attached, and keeping their books hidden from the American people. We're not allowed to audit them. We're not allowed to see their inner workings when what they're doing. They're not transparent at all. Why do you think that was? The time has come. And the time is here. The world is starting to speak up. People around the globe are starting to realize that it's the central bank. And as Trump continues on and continually accelerates the attacks on the central bank, because he's not going to give up, when the central bank lowers the interest rate, when they start stimulus, he's going to want more. He's going to continue with the attacks. He has to. He has to build the narrative until after the election. Because once he stays in the White House, well, the gloves come off. He will be able to do whatever he needs to do to get rid of the central bank. Why do you think he wants Judy Shelton on the Federal Reserve Board? Why do you think he's choosing individuals that believe in the gold standard, that like sound money, that really don't believe in the Federal Reserve system? Because the time has come. The time has come to transition us and to expose the central bank to the entire world. And this is going to happen in many countries. Remember, way back in, I think it was 2017, Q gave us a list of all the central banks in the world. They're in almost every single country around the world. And there's different levels that lead all the way up to the Rothschild. Q did this on purpose. Q is letting us know that they're preparing to fight the central bank. Now, this is the biggest, hardest battle. The swamp is nothing compared to the central bank. Remember the power of the central bank. They can wipe out countries. They put countries into debt on purpose to control them. They have the ability to wage war. They have the ability to push agendas like no one has ever seen. They control the monetary system around the world. And they have the ability to do a lot. This is going to be the biggest battle. This is going to be the most difficult battle that we've ever seen. Now, of course, looking at it today, it doesn't seem that way. But once they start to expose the central bank, once they start showing the world who and what they really are, this is when the central bank is going to lash out. Remember, there are those already that are lashing out, saying we need to get rid of Trump any way we possibly can. Who was that? Former New York Fed President Bill Dudley. Of course, the central bankers had to come in and others to say, hey, what are you doing here? You shouldn't be doing this, because that would expose them. That would expose their true agenda. They don't want that exposed just yet. Believe me, they're getting prepared and ready to go after him. If Trump and the Patriots attack the central bank system, they will retaliate. This is not, oh, look, it's just a bank there and we're just going to get rid of it. No. The central bank has grown over the many years, very different than Andrew Jackson. And by the way, that's why Trump has Andrew Jackson hanging on the wall, because Andrew Jackson got rid of the central bank. The central bank today is across the globe in almost every country. There's the IMF, there's the BIZ, there's the Rothschild banking system, which controls all of it. It's much, much larger. This is a very difficult mission. But I do believe that once he wins the election, he has the time, he has the ability, because he doesn't have to worry about being reelected. He doesn't have to worry about people saying, oh, look what he's doing. It's his last term. And he can do pretty much anything at this point. And I believe the Patriots will. They will move forward and they will push very, very hard. And all those audit bills and all those other bills about gold being sound money, auditing the Fed and all that, that's all going to come into play. And we're going to see a lot more. Just not that. They're really going to push this very, very hard. And this is coming. The world that we know today economically is about to change. And guess what? Here we are, almost into September of 2019. The time is approaching very, very quickly. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.